what better two people to discuss something like this with someone that didn't even finish school and someone that made it all the way to college. So.
I mean, I see most of the school shootings right now are like 13, 14-year-olds, right? They're just at that age where it's like, hey, my balls are starting to drop. I want to be my own man, and I'm still being ruled by a public school system, being bullied by people, and I'm not able to stand up for myself because my parents are even fooled into thinking that the school system's always right. So God forbid I do break my bully's nose, I'll probably get punished by my parents for getting suspended. So double punishment. I mean, it's just school systems are set up in a way where you absolutely cannot win. And, I mean, to blame children who are 13, 14 years old for the fact that school shootings are happening, although they should be held accountable, you can't do that because children don't just naturally grow up thinking, I want to blast everyone in this school. They just get pushed into corners like that. Now, I mean, if men were still men and everything was still normal and people weren't chopping their penises off, it might be okay to say, okay, there's just something wrong with this kid. But, if there's a system that is breeding people who do shit like this, it's pretty safe to say there's probably something just broken with the system, right?
Two things before I kind of respond to that. One, according to two different things I'm seeing on the internet, quick Google search, there have been 23 school shootings in America in 2024, which includes the two California schools.
23?
23. But then I see another one that says as of July 11th, 35 incidents of school shootings were recorded in the United States in 2024. So I'm seeing two. That's 12 different. That's a big difference. But
still, to live in a world where you could even say that 25 to 35 school shootings happened even in 10 years, let alone a few months, is just
months.
fucking insane. And then you just think, let's send the kids to school to get their proper education. Even when shit is falling apart with the system, nobody thinks to question it. Do you ever think to question if maybe the school system that's raising your kids, parents, is not the best system? Maybe your own parenting is the best way to go instead of your teacher's parenting? I mean, it's not even the teachers, honestly. It's the whole school system. Nothing is driving a kid over the edge to do shit like that that's happening at home or whatever. It's not that. Because then they'd be blasting their fucking parents, not their fellow students and teachers.
One solution, honestly, and I seen this, is to actually give these school shooters a punishment and not just jail time. Like, I know people disagree on, and I know these are 13, 14-year-olds freaking shooting it up, so then the death penalty, people are going to be like, no, you can't do that to someone. Be like, well, maybe if you did something a little harsher than just some jail time to school shooters, it would get the message across, for one. Two,
that's true. That is true. What you just said is, it makes sense and it's true, but okay, you got this kid who's a school shooter, right? He shot up a school. That's great. Yeah, he should get his punishment and all. But what really needs to happen is leading back to the source of why all of this is happening.
Well, yeah, and that's my
and
second
it's
point.
happening inside of a broken system, which is the school system, which I don't think is just by chance. It's not just magically happening by chance. The school system is fucked up. The school system is broken. And it's tarnishing kids. I mean, school systems get more and more strict and more crazy. I mean, they used to whoop kids, but that's different. Now it's just getting to a point where, they decide more than the parents do. If your kid gets caught outside of school drinking, the school's going to put them on a 6-week punishment now, right? The school is punishing the kids.
Well,
it's
honestly,
the school system's getting out of hand. They shouldn't have control over shit like that.
Forget giving kids punishment for them drinking outside school. Talk about the fact that the school, the school will let a child change their gender or get an abortion. I mean, I'm not saying not all schools, but there are schools that will let a child change their gender or make sure that child can change their gender or go get an abortion.
Even if the parents
the parents say no. Yeah.
Right.
Because they're like, oh, the parents are yada, yada, yada. and they're not being supportive. So the fact that a school even has that authority, like the, but the thing is too is like I've read books like The Little House on the Prairie. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book, but
I've heard of it. Yeah,
you probably heard of it.
I've
So
never read it.
in that book, they had that school wasn't system. That school system wasn't like messed up. Like there was, I mean, at that point there was the kids had a farm and ranch that they had to help their parents, grow and everything. So they had to, they had a certain amount of time off and they weren't in school that much. But and it's like, I don't know, people are going to be saying, "Oh, well, what's your solution?" We don't have a solution, but it's just it needs to be changed. The school system.
I have
needs
a
to be
solution. Stop the fucking school system because
Well, that's not a solution. You can't just stop the school system.
you can actually if the world was a greater place. You really can because at the end of the day, school systems are I mean, if you lead back to when school systems were started, they were just started to train people into being workers at a 9 to 5 because factories and big corporations weren't able to get enough workers. So they had to just train them young. They had to shape essentially their own slaves out of a school system. They just found a smarter way to do it, a way that they could make everybody agree with, a way that they could say, get your education, kids, and make everybody just think, yay, education. Wait a minute. Did I just get fucking herded into being a slave? And nobody ever thinks to question it. So, yes, you very much can end the shitty ass system that people are being set up for.
Well,
but
you can do it, but I'm saying what we need to do is return back to more of the school system like the Little House on the Prairie, because they went to school. They didn't even deem. I mean, most of the time they didn't deem education that important, and they weren't at school that long. The times where they were farming and stuff, they weren't in school. It was like they'd be going in the winter times when you can't be farming, you can't be planting, whatever. So that's the kind of system we need to bring back, is more of a system where it's like you're just going there to actually get, your basic knowledge, and then if you actually want to pursue college, then you can go do that on your own. But
it shouldn't be okay. Here's how you tell if an idea is a good idea. It's whether or not it requires force. The fact that the school system requires force by law, you have to go to school, correct?
Yeah,
You absolutely have to.
What's that? The terror.
I don't know, but it's illegal to not go to school. Your parents can't decide you can't go to school. You can't decide that you don't want to go to school. And if you do, you can do homeschool. But the way that you tell if an idea is a good idea is whether or not it requires force. You're forced to go to school. If it was a good idea, everybody would just automatically agree with it and say, yeah, let's do it, right? Right. When I asked you to come help me with Bennett Media, you thought it was a good idea. I didn't have to hold a gun to your head or tell you you're going to prison if you don't do it, did I?
Yeah.
Because you thought it was a good idea. You were like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. We can both make some money, right? I didn't have to say you're forced to do this because it was just a good idea. If taxes were a good idea, if school was a good idea, they wouldn't require force. Everyone would just say yes because people support good ideas. People are not stupid. You do not have to force people to do things that are good ideas, right? There's plenty of people who go out and clean up trash all over the world because they think it's a good idea. Nobody's forcing people to go clean up trash all over the world other than like community service. But I want to go back to what you just said a minute ago. Yeah, sure, kids should be punished for shooting up schools. Fuck yeah, obviously. They did a terrible thing. But the system should be punished for breeding people the wrong way. Like,
oh yeah,
you have to go back to where it's where this source, is coming from, right? You have to destroy the source, and the source is maybe not the school system itself, but the way it's being ran, because you have kids going through this system where they're being forced to wake up at a certain time. They're living like slaves, and then on top of that, in the school they're being treated like garbage. They're little minions basically, and as soon as they're out of school, I mean, you go on to be a minion if you can't think for yourself, if you just go off the school's training. But, you have these kids, they're forced into school. They can't have their own ideas. They can't. Most of the school shooters I've seen are men, right? I haven't seen any women go and shoot up the schools. Have you?
I don't think so. Not right. I can't.
And I'm sure women have, but you have to realize men, even if they're 14 years old, were not meant to be like that. They weren't meant to be forced onto pharmaceuticals, forced into school, forced to answer one way and only one way, and just forced to be drugged through this system, right? They go fucking crazy. Of course, I blame these kids for shooting up the school, but I can't fully say, this 14-year-old who shot up this school is just a terrible human. I could say, this 14-year-old who shot up this school is being drugged through a terrible fucking system, right? That of course they're going to end up a terrible human. You have men being constantly disrespected, constantly ruled, constantly forced to do what they don't want to do. What do you expect? It's like men who snap and like go disappear into the woods or something, right? It's because they were driven to a point where, they hated their job, but they had to go because bills forced them to go. Everything just adds up. And it's like men do the worst things when they're being forced into positions that they don't want to be in, mostly leading back to the system pushing them to be in those positions, right?
Yeah.
Maybe take a look at the system.
No, I mean, even like you were saying, it's not even the teachers. Like the teachers, 99% of the time, they're just teaching what they're taught to teach.
No, it's not the teachers.
But what I mean, we need to make the school system actually worth the shit. Like teach them something that's actually worthwhile. And I can tell you from when I was in school, like when I was younger, I read. One of my older brothers and me, we loved history, so we'd read all kinds of stuff in history. And when I homeschooled, I went to public school, I went to military school. Like I did basically everything. And my favorite personally was military school, just because I think it was all boys military school. Just I think guys need to learn the discipline. And I mean, there you're being forced to wake up early, but it's like, and you're forced to do everything, but that's actually something that's like meaningful. The curriculum could have been better, but everything that the school is teaching people is like just worthless garbage. I mean, yes, you need to know your math, you need to learn your reading, yada yada yada. But like when it comes to like all the extra stuff like history, like you need to learn just the important stuff. And I can tell you, when I was it seventh grade? Yeah, seventh grade. In history class, social studies class, whatever the difference is. We were learning something, and I read a lot of history books and learned, on my own a lot of different stuff. And I remember raising my hand and asking my teacher, like, 'cause she was just doing some PowerPoint slides about some Henry VIII, to be exact. And I raised my hand and was like, that's not exactly the reasoning behind why he did what he did. And she was like, I don't know. Like, she literally was like, I'm just reading what's here.
Right.
So
well,
it's
you
like,
can't blame the teachers, though. And what you were just saying,
but
like,
no,
you
yeah.
do need to learn math. Yeah, you're right. The teachers aren't wrong, and the students aren't wrong, first of all.
Yeah.
It's the school system itself. It's the whole system, right?
Yeah.
They're breeding people into this system where it's forceful.
Well, and the school system
Nobody's wrong
is
except
producing
for the
those
system.
teachers. So it's like it's
Right.
a circle. It's a constant circle, and it's like it's how it is. But yeah, you need to get to the base and get to the school system and fix the school system. I don't have any hope that it will ever be fixed or anything's
No,
gonna
probably.
ever happen. I think it's just contingent.
I do think it'll come to a point where people snap and people say, all right, this isn't okay. We're being forced into a school system. We're being forced to stay in our house when they say to stay in our house. We're being forced to work for $1 that's becoming worthless. If we by any means decide to do something wrong in the city or anywhere that the government doesn't agree with, we're being put in a cage. At some point, everyone will realize I'm a slave, and nobody's going to be okay with that. There might be a portion of people who are okay with that, but enough men will get mad and say, fuck, I'm a slave, which I think there already is enough men. They're just not together. They're separated, right?
Yeah.
There's enough men who understand that they're enslaved and want to fix the system that's just taking everyone and flocking them up to do exactly what they want. But they have to be united. in order to do anything about it, and that's not here yet. So just basically everyone has to realize it in order for anything to happen. But what you were just saying about like, yeah, you need to know your math, whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff
It should actually
that
be
you should learn in school.
arithmetic, what it should be.
Whatever. I don't even know what the fuck that word means. I dropped out of school. But yeah, you do need to know your math. Whatever. Blah, blah, blah. You have fucking calculators now, so in my opinion, it's a waste of time. Why not take the path of least resistance to get to where you're trying to go? I mean, the world's advanced. Take it as you will. The world has advanced to a point where we now have calculators. Truth is, you actually don't need to know math. That's just the way it is. But let's just say in a hypothetical world where you do actually need to learn math and whatever, because the world isn't advanced enough to where we have Google and you can search whatever you want. It's still good to know because you want to be able to see shit hit the fan, like phone systems going down and everything, and still be able to live without a phone. You don't want to rely on a phone. So yeah, let's just say you do need math. You still can't force that. You can't force another man or a system or a group of people cannot decide upon a bigger group of people that they have to know math. Where the fuck do you get the idea that you can force onto another person that they have to learn something? The only way you could get that is if you need slaves and you're going to force them to do what you want because you want them to be who you need them to be in order to get what you want out of the end, right? That's the only way you can get that logic. Where else do you get the idea that you can force somebody, even if it's good for them, where do you get the idea that you can force that on them? You have to be a slave master to do that.
No pun intended.
No.
No, that is true.
I forgot to mention, guys, Titus is racist. That's the end of that topic. Continue.
I don't know. Thing is, like you're saying, you think that there will be a point that, people break, and I do agree that there is a lot of people that believe that, or know and believe that everything's, messed up, screwed up, and they're not united. They're all spread apart. I do believe that. I just really don't believe that the school system will ever be fixed. I don't think. 'Cause from what I've seen, it gets worse and worse and worse, and I haven't seen it get any better, like any kind of improvement at all in the school system. I think honestly, if anything, homeschooling is the best, but most people cannot afford to do that. Just because,
because they went through the school system and it wronged them. Well, okay, the system didn't wrong them. I don't want to say that. Nobody's a victim of the system. You decide your own fate at the end of the day, but when you're groomed and really forced into being a sheep by your parents and your parents' parents and pushed through a system as well, it's a little more difficult.
Yeah, and I think people genuinely, like, you could go out there and genuinely find people that do not have any kind of knowledge as far as, like, any, like, real true logic. And if you, like, go try to talk to them about the school system or anything, like, they went to school, maybe they went to college, they're probably in college debt, and they're living their normal 9-to-5 life job, clubbing on the weekends, going on their vacations, like, all that stuff. And they don't have the common knowledge of, like, of something better, really. Like, they don't, like, you and me always talk about, like, upgrading your mindset. We're passing here in San Antonio, we're passing
Lamborghini
Porsche and
dealership.
Lamborghini dealerships, Ferrari dealerships, and we're talking about getting something like that.
Right, and we went into the Lamborghini dealership today. Side note, we went into the Lamborghini dealership today. Fucking sold out. You can't even buy a Lamborghini.
They did the grand opening like a week ago.
Yeah,
and
sold
they're
out.
sold
The only
out.
thing left in the Lamborghini dealership, other than like one Lamborghini, was a G-Wagon and a Bentley. That's it.
Used, and those were like the ones that were traded in that people bought other newer cars for. And so, but it's like, we're always talking about, like, you have to upgrade your mindset, and it's crazy because living in California and seeing those same dealerships when I was a little kid, I was like, who the heck is keeping these guys in business? Like, how do they have
Right.
this building that's nothing but, you know, 50, I mean, what, 80, 90,000 plus dollar cars, and somehow they're staying
Well,
in business.
Lamborghini, a few $100,000 at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then like you get a little older, you know, in our case, you go into business and you start making some money and you walk in there just out of curiosity, seeing what's up, and they're fucking sold out. They're
Yeah.
like, you know, if you want a Lamborghini sometime within the next 2 years, you better get on the waiting list because our Lamborghinis, you're going to have to wait a while because so many rich people came in here and bought all the Lamborghinis that you're stuck with this fucking
G-Wagon.
G-Wagon and this Bentley or that ugly ass Lamborghini Urus. And it's like, what? Damn.
Yeah.
But
And-
anyways,
But
kind
no,
of
no,
off
I'm
topic
just-
here.
But no, but my whole point is that there's people that, and I was in the same position, but there's people that don't have that knowledge. Like you have to upgrade your mindset and actually go seek the knowledge, and not just like we're talking about money, but I'm talking about people that went through the school system and learned all your basic, stuff, and then maybe, like I said, maybe they went to college, or whatever. And now they're just working 9 to 5, or they're working at, McDonald's, Taco Bell, whatever it is, or even working their corporate jobs. They don't have that mindset or even the knowledge that there is something better. Like they think,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
We
my
gotta
high
wrap
school
this
was
up soon.
my high school was amazing. I'm an alumni from,
I got
T-
answers to both these
THS.
things.
and then they're like, and you know what they do is they go back to those high schools and middle schools because their kids are gonna go to it, and they watch all the games and they're just excited, and they watch their college alumni.
And they never move away from that area because they want
Yeah.
their kids to live the same shitty life they did.
Well, the thing is, like, they don't think it's a shitty life because they don't
Right.
have that knowledge that there's something better. So the school system really, like, it's not even a school system. It's like it's a mindset and life system that, like you're saying, it trains you to live this certain life. They started off so they could get more workers, and hell, they got a lot of workers.
Right. So, okay. Your first thing was saying, you don't see the school systems ever getting better. They're just getting worse. And then that second part, those intertwine. So, no, you're not going to see the school systems get better because why would you? Why would they get better when what you were just saying is true? You've already got the people so dumb. You've already got these people to a point where, they're staying in the same shitty hometown that they hate just so their kids can go to the same school and then they can just die living that one life. They've already got people gripped. They've got a grip on people.
Real quick though,
Why would they change the system? Why would they make it better?
they're not living in a town that they hate. They love the town because they think it's the best thing.
They
But
don't
go
love
ahead.
the town. They don't love the town. They tell themselves that because they want their kids to go to college there and it's too expensive to move. At the end of the day, they probably would rather go somewhere else,
Oh yeah.
explore the world a little bit.
They're the ones that are on TikTok watching all these other people that are 16, 17, and 18-year-olds that are millionaires
Right.
traveling, and
For
they're
me,
like, wow.
The more money that I make, the more I just want to bounce around. I don't do that, but like the
Like
more I
move
just
around?
want to, the more I'm just like, yo, wonder what it's like to live in Dubai, Miami, LA. Like, why not live everywhere and experience the most of the world that you can? Well, because the school system already taught them that, for one, what they have is enough. The school system's sure as hell good at teaching you that. God forbid you don't like their cafeteria food, you ungrateful fuck. And two, I can't remember my other point. But yeah, so why would they change the school system and make it better and stop the school shootings and fix what's going wrong in the system when they've already got everyone under their nails? Why would they care? That's just more work for them, right? So they've already got generation after generation getting dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber and more of sheep, right? Why would they try to fix anything or change anything when it's working out just how they want it to? The school system was not put in place to make things better for you. The whole system starts with you going to school and ends with you retiring at 70 years old and dying a few years later. It wasn't set up
65, 70, yeah.
right. It wasn't set up for you to win in the first place. And I mean, why the fuck would the school system care if they lose 4 or 5 children? Doesn't hurt them. Like, why would they want to fix it? What if they accidentally fuck something up?
Yeah.
Or what, what if everything just doesn't work out the way they want it to? Like, for them to really fix it, it would have to not be such a deep, cruel school system, but then they wouldn't get their end result that they're looking for. So I just don't think that they can. Like, how would they fix it? And they've already got everyone so dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's why I say like I don't really have any faith that it's gonna get fixed. Maybe it will. I do hope it does. I want to see a teacher's perspective on like because a lot of the people that I know, like girls that are going to college to be teachers and people that are teachers already, it's because they go because they love kids. They want to go teach. Like they want to hang out with kids. They want to like teach kids. And so, like, and we talked about how they're just teaching what they're told to teach.
Yeah.
So they're doing it because they want to teach kids and whatnot, and just like be around kids.
Right.
But I don't think they. I mean, I'm sure there are some, but there's not many that actually like think about why am I teaching what I'm teaching.
How would they? They were raised in the systems themselves.
And they'd get in trouble if they didn't. And 9 times out of 10, they went through all these years of school, all as a debt. And if they try to teach something else, and lo and behold, some kid that's super liberal because of his parents goes and tells his parents, and then his parents tells the principal or something like that, and then that teacher gets kicked out, and she may never be able to, or she may never be able to get a job somewhere, and that's all they know is teaching. So
Right. Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
but it's also
I kind of want to see a teacher's perspective on that because they just I don't think they come from, like I'm saying, I want to see their perspective because I think just for the kids, but they're not. I don't think they realize they need to be doing a whole lot more than for the kids.
Yeah, I don't think they realize that they're supporting a fucked up system or a broken system. They're supporting a broken system. Yeah. Essentially, the system's already cracked everywhere. All these teachers and everyone who supports
at schools and stuff
supports parts of the government and whatnot are just holding up their own crack in the system. That's all they're doing. And you got to look at being a teacher just like you would look at taking tax money. Right? You're like, okay, tax money is already being taken from everybody. I might as well take my stimulus check. But that's not how it works because at the end of the day, that money was stolen from someone and you just shouldn't take it. Same thing with, say, a school teacher, right? The system's there and it's going to continue on without you, so you might as well support it. But that's not true because if everyone just thinks like that, then the system's forever supported. If more people would just think, I'm not supporting the system, I'm not supporting these terrible, fucked up things, then it would just get better and better.
The opposite side of that is like homeschool. I think homeschool is a better option if you're able to do it, but people frown on it and so much that a lot of parents are probably scared to do it. Even if they can, they're scared to do it because they don't want their kids to be like, oh, they're the weird homeschool kids.
Right.
Like,
oh yeah, and that's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing about the school system is a lot of parents know that the school system's corrupt, but they're fucking lazy. Parent your kids.
Scared.
No, they're not even scared. They're just worthless fucking parents, dude. The school system watches their children. It's a free daycare. It teaches them and makes them feel like they're doing something good for their kids because they can't just do it themselves. Right? It does all these beneficial things for parents. So that's just more incentive for parents to not take their kids out of school. It's lazy parenting in a broken system. That's what it is.
Yeah, you combine those and you got what you got going on right now.
Right.
Which is not producing anything good, so.
And where I'm getting that from is you were just saying, they're scared that their kids won't meet anybody if they don't go to public school. That's because you're a lazy ass fucking parent who needs to send kid to public school in order for their kids to learn, in order for your kids to learn social skills, and in order for your kid to go anywhere. That just means if my kid doesn't go to school, my kid will sit at home and do absolutely nothing and never meet anybody because I won't take my kid anywhere because I'm a lazy parent. 2, that means my kid will never learn social skills because I'm a douchewinkle and I won't teach my kid social skills. That's all that says about the parents who won't homeschool their kids because of those negative things. If you need a school system to do that for you, you should have kept your legs closed.
And don't be on birth control.
What?
Then don't be on birth control.
Don't
just
be
keep
on it.
yeah. Just keep your legs closed. Don't have sex. If you can't be a parent.
Fuck it. All right, guys. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, you take something from this. If you have your kids in school, at least consider taking them out. And if you're a kid in school, at least consider
Just
maybe not continuing.
just look at what they're being taught, and I think as a parent you need to know what your kids are being taught, and is that what you want your kids to be learning, and is that how you want your kids to become? I don't know. I think it's that simple.
Analyze instead of just being lazy and letting things happen. Run your life instead of letting your life run you. Yes, there was decisions put in place before your kids were born and before you were born that everyone had to go to school. But if you analyze that super well and decide to make your own decisions, there's ways around it and you can do it. We'll leave it at that. Thanks, guys.
Yep.